Good evening, everybody. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland, Shenzhen, just south of the Tropic of Cancer. Great program tonight, not very long, very informative, tons of hyperlinks, and a really cool visual up top. So get to the original SoundCloud or YouTube production, or go to the website chinarising.puntopress.com. Click on the blog tab and you'll see it. Tonight's podcast is entitled Trump and Moon Are Figurehead Presidents, and it painfully shows. And then the caption for the really awesome shadow puppet visual. On the left, typical Western presidents and leaders putting on a hollow show of power. On the right, their puppet masters, the deep state, composed of the big oil bankers, the military, the billionaire capitalists / Wall Street, and Spookville, which includes the CIA, MI6, DGSE, BND complex. You know the rest of the story. This week showed just how much U.S. President Donald Trump and South Korean President Moon Jae-in are not the kind of presidents we idealize. They are figurehead leaders who answer not to their citizens but to higher nefarious powers. For the U.S., this has been the case since George Washington and the founding of the Republic in 1776. Back then, the, quote, deep state, end of quote, was powerful bankers and wealthy capitalists, just like today, only now adding the CIA complex and the military, which work for and profit with the aforementioned players. Seventh U.S. President Andrew Jackson abolished America's central bank, which began the long legacy of assassinations and attempted assassinations of anybody who got in the bankers' and capitalists' way. It is no coincidence that the United States has an inordinate number of presidents and other government leaders who died in office or survived assassination, including most likely Franklin Delano Roosevelt, since Wall Street's fascist coup against FDR failed in 1933. People love to dump on Trump and want to say that all this is happening in the White House these days is unprecedented. Not true. Nothing has changed in 240 years. It's just that he really is an outsider and is fearlessly exposing the puppeteers behind the scenes. The only reason he may not get assassinated is that he is rich enough to hire his own private security force and has sidelined the Secret Service, which is a handmaiden of the deep state. Don't believe me? Just ask John F. and Robert F. Kennedy. Trump is trying to sign a peace treaty with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, but does not control the Department of State nor the military, as hypothetically presumed. Thus, this week we have the U.S. military, which occupies South Korea, suddenly conducting massive attack exercises with South Korea's soldiers practicing to invade and destroy the North. This after Kim and Moon just agreed at their history-setting summit only 3 weeks ago to halt all these kinds of menacing maneuvers. Of course, DPRK's Kim had to respond by stopping all plans for further détente. Unlike Trump and Moon, Kim actually governs his country, as does China's President Xi Jinping. President Moon is in the same puppet boat as all U.S. and Korean presidents. He and South Korea are controlled by billionaire families and a fascist military, which is under the generalship of Uncle Sam. That's right, South Korea's soldiers take their orders from the Pentagon. These Korean families are stinking corrupt and control the government and the country's nominal legislature. The Korean name for their giant conglomerates is Chaebol or Chaebol, and they own brands you are all familiar with: Hyundai, Samsung, LG, Kia, and others. They also own Korea's version of the White House called the Blue House. Thus, we have to endure then we have to endure U.S. imperialism's usual arrogant, and need I say imperious, attitude towards the whole Korean drama. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo smiled for the cameras and said that the U.S. must guarantee not to try to overthrow the DPRK or kill Kim. However, back-channel Kim and company must be seeing the real face of the colonial monster, as he lambasted Uncle Sam for making one-sided demands and acting, well, imperiously. So what else is new? The DPRK had the honesty to state to the world that it will not allow it and its people to end up as another Libya or Iraq, which both denuclearized and dechemical weaponized and, once defenseless, got the American freedom and democracy treatment, with millions getting slaughtered and starved to death in the process. Baba Beijing is up to its yarbles in the deal, since it has a mutual defense treaty with the DPRK going back decades. I bet if you ask 100 those who should know politicians in Washington about this fact, most of them would be ignorant of it. Kim has every reason to smell foul play from the get-go. Since the first treaty with the eventually exterminated Native Americans, the U.S. government has reneged on, ignored, manipulated, or subverted every treaty it has signed. This includes the big one signed by Bill Clinton with North Korea, only to be later quashed by George W. Bush. Again, Trump haters love to bash him for living up to his campaign promises and canceling international agreements like the TPP, NAFTA, and JCPOA, but nothing has changed in 240 years of brazen U.S. dishonesty and arrogance. Any world leader worth their salt understands this. Just last week, Syrian President Assad said it was pointless to talk to Trump since he is controlled by the deep state, and thus the U.S. cannot be trusted to keep its word. Russian President Vladimir Putin also famously talked about the U.S.'s deep state with men in dark suits who call the real shots. It's no different in any other supposedly democratic country, including all of your Anglo-land, Japan, and every other supposed Western ally across the globe, from the president to their legislatures and judges. Sadly, 95% of these countries' citizens actually believe their votes mean something. Gag. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful evening. Please share this channel and the China Rising Radio Sinoland website with in your circles so that we can help disabuse people who are brainwashed by Western mainstream media. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.